Yes, start. Okay, sir. Good evening to all my respected teachers, my seniors, and dear participant. Myself, Dr. Manmender Singh, MS Final Year Scholar, National Institute of Ayurveda, Jaipur. First of all, I thanks to my HOD and NSA team to give a opportunity for moderating this session. Uh, and welcome to all of you. And today's session of lecture series is organized by National Social Association and collaborating with the Parul University. Heading towards the lecture of topic, today's session is the constipation, and our guest speaker, ma'am, is Dr. Randhya Shabde ma'am. Before starting this session, let me give a brief introduction about the ma'am. Ma'am has completed BMS and MS from Government Ayurveda College, Osmanabad, affiliated with Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Maharashtra University in 2007 and completed a PhD from Pune University in 2010. And ma'am have teaching experience more than 13 years. Now is working as an assistant professor in Salatantra department in R.A. Poddar College, Poddar Medical College, Mumbai from 2019. 2009. Ma'am has enormous experience of clinical practice in Ayurveda field. Currently, you have working as a assistant professor, R.A. Poddar College, Mumbai. So another experience of ma'am is paper presentation, many more paper presented by this our guest speaker, and live achievement, many more achievement of ma'am regarding to TV telecast related to anorectal disease as well as hernia surgery and general surgeries. Interview broadcast in All India Radio on topic related to constipation and digestive disorder, Ritucharya and Tridosha Bath. Many more publication presented by our guest speaker, ma'am. Or area of interest is very surgical practice and teaching in Ayurveda. International experience of our guest speaker in participated World Ayurveda World Congress or Ayurveda Pondicherry and World Ayurveda Congress Kolkata. Now this session. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am, I am audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Currently, you are working as a R.A. Poddar College Medical in Mumbai. Now, I am request to our guest speaker, ma'am, to start this presentation.
Okay. Good evening to all. I myself, Dr. Pradnya Sabde Kapse, I extend my sincere thanks to respected Hemant Kumar sir, the entire team of National Sushrut Association, and Dr. Hemant Toshikhane sir, Dr. Parikshit sir, and all senior dignitaries and faculties in the field of Shalya Tantra for giving me this opportunity and for to share this my views on this subject, constipation today. And thank you for the nice introduction, sir. So, without wasting time, I will start the topic. In the current scenario or in the current era, the burning problem for all anorectal diseases and causing various other surgical diseases also is nothing but a constipation. Whenever patient comes to us and we take a whole history, 80% patients, they tell us that, doctor, I am suffering from constipation. Now, it is my sincere effort to just look after the Ayurvedic as well as modern aspects for our people to look upon this topic of constipation. So, going towards this, first we should know the mala, that what is mala, nirukti of mala. Malinikarnat malaha. जो भी मलिन करता है, that is mal. How it is getting produced? So Vagbhat has described kittam sarascha tatpakvam annam sambhavati dvida tat acham kittam annasya mutram vidyat ghanam shakrut. So it is getting divided in two parts, shakrut and mutra, from the sara bhaga of ahara, and then mala is formed. It is also synonymed as purisha, or we can say fecal matter. Now Mahabhutadikya we can correlate with Vayu and Agni, and its function is avashtamba, dharan karna. If there is a purisha vriddhi in our body, then Adman, Atop, Gaurav, Vedana or Shula, such type of symptoms we can see. And if there is Purisha Kshaya seen or produced inside the body, then Sashabda Vayu Brahman, Rut Parshva Pida like symptoms we can see. So we should see what Sushruta has described regarding Purishvah Srotas. So Purishvah Srotas is one of the Srotas he has described in our ancient text, and it is having Pakvashay and Sthula Guda as its Mula Sthana. So if it is getting Dushta, or if some disturbance is happening in this Strotas, which symptoms we can see, Sushruta has already described, even Charakacharya also has described. Kruchrena alpa alpam means straining during defecation. Sashabda sashula. So sashabda mala pravrutti, sashula mala pravrutti. Atidrava mala pravrutti, atigrathita mala pravrutti. So sometimes there will be frequency of the defecation. It may be watery stool, or the patient may pass lumpy stool, or the patient may pass hard stool. So ati bahucha upavishantam. So the quantity may be more, the quantity may be less. It may be incomplete evacuation as well. It may be painful defecation as well. So these are some of the symptoms when the Purishvaha Srotas gets dushta. Now, what is Prakrut Mala? See, in our Ayurveda, it is already described by our Acharya. It is very noble science that we should all be proud of, being Ayurvedic doctors and surgeons, that our texts have told us the exact dinacharya, exact rutucharya, what lifestyle we should follow so as to keep ourselves healthy, not only physically but as well as mentally also. So Prakrutmal means, they have told in Ashtang Hriday, Sharira Chintam Nirvartya Kruta Shaucha Vidhistata. Each and everyone should pass the stool every day. So stool should be passed daily in the morning, they have told, and they have described here in our text. Even they have described Laghav should be there. When your body feels light weight, or it is, you are feeling very light, Laghav, Laghuta in your body, that means your Agni is going to be better. And this will be only achieved when you will pass the stool daily in the morning. So it has been described in our texts. So there is another concept of Sama and Nirama Purisha. So what is Sama? What is Nirama? We all of us, we know that Sansrishta may be doshaistu nyastu apsu avasidati. Apsu means, upper means water. So inside the water, the fecal matter gets embedded. That means वो पूरा पानी के नीचे जाता है, avasidati. So it is getting inside. So in that water, it is called Samapurish. When it is getting floated on the water, it is Nirama Purush. If it is not getting floated, it is Samapurish. So Sama and Nirama Purisha, there are some criteria from which we can identify what type of Purisha that particular Rugna or patient is passing. Sama Purisha is Guru having foul smell. It is in large quantity. And also it may be grathita or it may be in liquid form. Nirama Purisha is lagu, that means it floats on the water. It is not having any type of foul smell. It is in samyak quantity, that is adequate quantity, and it is properly having consisted. Its consistency is samvata, it has been described. So this is about Sama and Nirama Purisha. Now, these are the hetu or causes of Purishavaha Srotash Dushti. So, Charak has mentioned Vidharanat, Atyashanat, Ajirnat, Adhyashanat tatha. Adhyashan karenge. If you eat after eating, if even if the previous food is not getting digested, and if we eat again, then Ajirnashan will take place. Anashan means if we keep on fasting for longer duration, then it will be anashan. So, due to all these reasons, like not answering to our urge or not giving proper attention to the urge of defecation, not maintaining dietary habits, then excessive intake of our food, then frequent eating, eating after indigestion, even if the previous food is not getting digested, we are going to eat again and again. Excessive fasting also, poor quality of diet and less water intake, and even mentally, if the person is not fit or his psyche is not healthy, then the Agni Vayu gets dushta. Even Apana Dushti takes place. If the koshtha of that patient is krura, then alteration in the reservoir function of colon happens or occurs. And such type of causes, they cause dushti of Purishavaha Srotas. So it disturbs the whole gastrointestinal tract and the digestive system. And it gives what we can say another, all types of diseases are getting occurred because of this. So diseases having constipation as a symptom, what type of diseases we can see where the constipation is one of the symptoms we are day to day in our daily practice we are seeing. These are painful anal conditions, perikartika or fissure, we can correlate it with the fissure in ano. Then Ruddha Guda, that is anal stenosis, fistula in ano, abscess, arsha, and Purvaroof of Atisara. Again, we should focus on the concept of koshtha when we see or when we deal with the constipation. So, koshtha means it is a word made from kusha dhatu. Kusha means avarana, kusha avarane. So it is being told, and its definition we can see it is defined as a nature of alimentary tract, bowel movements, or nature of elimination of feces. According to Bhav Prakash, sthana such as amashay, agnyashay, pakvashay, mutrashay, or rudirashay, unduk, hriday, all these organs are called as koshtha, or they are included in the terminology of this koshtha. Generally, the term koshtha means hollow, viscous, we can say. So these are some of the synonyms, that is mahasrotasa, or we can say pakvashay, or like that. All types of synonyms are there which are being described. There are types of koshtha which have been told by acharyas: krura koshtha, mrudu koshtha, and madhyam koshtha. So it is based upon the predominance of doshas. So krura koshtha is somewhat, we can say, predominance or increase of vata dosha. It produces hard feces with difficulty of elimination or even non-elimination. It's happened due to predominance of ruksha guna of vata over the sara guna of pitta doshas. So it is mrudu koshtha, krura koshtha. Now coming to mrudu koshtha, it is seen that there is a predominance or increase of pitta dosha causes watery or semi-solid feces, we can say, moving out more than once or twice in a day. And madhya koshta, predominance or increase of kapha, it causes soft, solid feces moving out smoothly. Some acharya said that when all these doshas are normal, then the koshta will be madhya, which is the ideal condition. So Vagbhat has mentioned 4 types of koshta. It's include sama koshta also, 4th type, adding in the above 3 types. Now, koshta parikshan, how to do it? All of us, we know how to deal with it at the time of treatment of constipation. So if patient gets virechan or with kshir or milk, that is, or good, that is jaggery, or we can say ikshurasa, mastu, etc., then we can conclude there is pitta bahulyata and the koshta will be mrudu. If patient gets virechana or the stool getting passed immediately with snuhi kshir, ichha bhedi ras, like that, then we can conclude that there is vata bahulya and the koshta will be krura. And useful dietary substances to relieve this constipation or malavashtamba, we all of us we know there are number of dietary uh, what we can say substances which we can add into our daily diet: cow ghee, buttermilk, or fiber rich diet, green salads, sprouts, pulses, leafy vegetables, black resins, kala munakka जिसे हम बोलते हैं, fig soaked in the water. Then seasonal fruits also we can have to overcome this problem. Now coming to Ayurvedic chikitsa of this malavashtamba, that is constipation, is properly mentioned in our texts. So the basic principles are there. First is Deepan, second is Pachan, and then Anuloman. Now Deepan is used for Agni Deepan. Deepan is very much important to make a balanced state of our Jatharagni to digest the food material that we eat. So in the right column, I have just given one example, Mishri, then Pachan, Amapachan. If some sort of samata is there in your body, then it should get digested properly so that you will not land up in the problem of constipation. So best example of Pachan is Chitrak. And Anuloman means Haritaki, Yatha Prokta Haritaki, means Anuloman, when it digests that particular mala, mala ka pachan bhi karti hai, and then it evacuates that mala, it is Haritaki. After that, many concepts are being described like Sransan, Bhedan, Rechan, and one of the examples Acharyas they have told, like Sransan example is Aragvad, Bhedan, Kutki is best used for Bhedan purpose. Nishottar is best used for Rechan purpose. So they are just digesting that mala. It is getting pakva and it is now ready to evacuate. Now it is achieving niramata. It is getting pakva, pachan or digestion of that mala bhag takes place, and then the evacuation takes place properly. So all these herbal drugs, they help for this purpose to overcome the constipation. Now, according to our Ayurveda, Basti is also one of the best, what we can say, remedies to overcome or to treat this constipation. Now, see, there are 5 karmas in our Panchakarma. Out of those 5 karmas, if we see, 3 out of 5 are only for gastrointestinal tract, like Vaman, Virechan, and Basti. So all these 3 are only mentioned or described for GI tract. So Basti, as a retrograde administration of medicine in the colon, it what we can avoids the vitiation of Vata dosha. It it brings that vata dosha in a proper tract, and apana dushti is getting overruled and constipation is treated easily. Even mridi virechan we can give with mrudu virechak dravya like erenda sneha, aragvat, kapila, like that. Even we can see when there is a diseased part in our body, then if agni of that particular patient is vishama or tikshna or manda, then it will give rise to the production of number of diseases inside the body. Constipation may be one of those symptoms. So to overcome this, we should always look after these Ayurvedic medications, medicines, herbal drugs, as well as Panchakarma part as well. Now, coming to the modern aspect of constipation, the modern people say that constipation is a polysymptomatic disorder and not a single disease. Means it may get infested with the help of number of group of symptoms. So it is not a single disease. It is associated with number of symptoms, and it gives rise to the number of diseases. So because it represents many symptoms that affect colonic and anorectal functions, it is one of the burning problem nowadays that we should not neglect when treating the patient. Now, constipation is infrequent defecation with altered consistency and amount of stool is generally used to define constipation. Now, perhaps equally important and common, what we can say, causes are excessive straining, passage of hard stools, feeling of incomplete evacuation. Now, in these days, we treat this constipation, or we consider this concept of constipation according to Rome 3 criteria on the symptom basis. All of us we know. So there may be dyssynergic definition as well on symptoms and objective physiological criteria also. So these are few of the causes of constipation we can see. Anorectal disorders, organic stenosis, myogenic disorders. There are number of dystrophies like we can say scleroderma or inflammatory conditions, ischemic stenosis, or neurological problems, endocrine problems, metabolic disorders. Now spinal cord injury, neurological problems like paraplegia, or we can say multiple sclerosis. Then enteric neuropathy may be one of the causes to cause this constipation, that is Hirschsprung's disease or chronic intestinal pseudo obstruction. Then medications like anticholinergic agents, excessive use of these medicines, tricyclic antidepressants, antispasmodics, calcium channel blockers, NSAID, all these may land up in the problem of constipation. So this is very, very important to look after or to take proper history of the patient to go up to the root of the cause of the constipation, why it has occurred, and then only we have to treat it. Then Rome 3 criteria of functional constipation, now they tell us that the symptom onset should be there at least 6 months before diagnosis. So few of the symptoms, or by which criteria we can tell that this patient is having constipation or this patient is constipated. According to modern science, they tell that even if the patient defecates 3 times a week, he is normal, and if the more than that the episode occurs, means less than 3 frequencies, or we can say even he does not defecate once a week, or even not a single day in whole week, then only he is constipated. But in Ayurveda, our ancient acharyas, they tell that one should defecate daily to maintain the proper synergy, or we can say the biological clock of the body. Then the patient must include 2 or more criteria of the following, then only he will be called constipated. So there should be straining during at least 25% defecations. Then there should be lumpy or hard stools, at least 25% of defecations. Sense of incomplete evacuation should be there. Sense of anorectal obstruction or blockage should be there. और मैनुअल मनोवर्स मीन्स उंगली डाल के निकालना पड़ता है, डिजिटल इवैक्यूएशन. Many patients they complain that they have to evacuate the stool and it is getting impacted inside the anus and they have to evacuate it manually. Then fewer than 3 defecations per week, then only that person will be called constipated. So loose stools rarely present without laxatives, and then these are few of the criterias which are being described in under Rome 3 criterias. So this is very, very important. In 90s, this criteria was getting invented, and then the surgeons are following this. Now, criteria of dyssynergic defecation, it must fulfill the criteria for functional constipation as per Rome 3. Must fulfill two or more of following physiological criteria: dyssynergic pattern of defecation, inability to expel stool-like device within 1 minute, prolonged colonic transit time greater than 6 markers after 120 hours on plain radiograph, inability to expel barium, or more than 50% retention will be there during defecography. That means there is dyssynergy of defecation. Functional subtypes. Now, there are mainly we see slow transit constipation is there, prolonged delay in transit through colon due to dysfunction of smooth muscles. It is considered under the term of myopathy. Then dysfunction in nerve innervation, it is considered under the term of neuropathy. And secondary to dyssynergic defecation, there are number of factors coming under this norm. Now, inability or difficulty to expel stools from anorectum, it is related with the dyssynergy. Then pathophysiology, slow transit constipation. Of this, we can see significant impairment of phasic colonic motor activity. It is the most important part related with slow transit constipation. So colonic activity is getting hampered, impaired, and it is lowered. And where we can just pay attention when patient complains regarding this particular symptom, we have to investigate him regarding this slow transit constipation. Reduced gastrocolonic response is also there. Then waves have tendency to abort prematurely. Amplitude of waves is discrete. Basically, it is a motor disorder that all of us should know. Then pathophysiology, dyssynergic defecation of this pathophysiology we can see in 2/3 it is acquired behavioral disorder of defecation. Means it is, we can say 80% it is associated with the mental state of that particular patient. In remaining 1/3, the process of defecation not learnt in childhood. Proper toilet training नहीं देते हम लोग बच्चों को. So if right from childhood, if we give proper training to evacuate the fecal matter to the children, then the habit of defecating the stool every day will avoid this type of defecation, dyssynergia, or we can say constipation in future of that person's life. Most patients, they show abnormal coordination of abdominal, rectoanal, or pelvic floor muscles during defecation. And dyssynergy of muscle is a basic problem. Then alarming features, it is very important that if the constipation is there with bloody stools, if the constipation is there with weight loss, if constipation is there with anorexia, nausea, vomiting, fever, then in that case, we have to investigate, properly diagnose that patient, as all these are the alarming signs that the patient may have any type of disease like cancer, carcinoma, or any type of problem related to the GI tract. Then diagnostic evaluation, there are certain investigations by which we can diagnose this constipation. Now, you can see in this slide, there are the investigations for serum calcium or glucose levels, thyroid functions test. Now, the question comes to our mind, how all these values are related with the constipation. So, there is a relation between, we can say, all these values with the terminology of constipation. So, relation between serum cortisol and constipation: too little cortisol will result in diarrhea, while too much cortisol will result in constipation. Now, relation between blood sugar level and constipation, we can say over time, high blood sugar levels due to diabetes can damage a person's nerve. And nerve damage that affects the digestive tract may cause a person to have diarrhea, constipation, or both. Now, relation between thyroid hormones and constipation, if we see, then constipation is a common symptom of hypothyroidism. All of us we know. If we see relation between parathyroid hormones and constipation, then hyperparathyroidism causes smooth muscles atony with upper and lower gastrointestinal symptoms such as nausea, heartburn, constipation, etc. Then relation between serum calcium and constipation, if I want to say, then hypercalcemia can cause stomach upset, nausea, vomiting, constipation. So hypercalcemia may give rise to the constipation. Then relation between serotonin and constipation: shortage of serotonin in the neurons of gut can cause constipation. Then relation between lubiprostone and constipation. Now, lubiprostone is a bicyclic fatty acid derived from prostaglandin even. Now, it acts by specifically what we can say activating CIC2 chloride channels. These are the chloride channel inside our body on the apical aspect of the gastrointestinal epithelial cells. So these secretions soften the stool, they increase the motility, and they promote spontaneous movements of the bowel, and thus they relieve the constipation. So this is very, very important to look after these values at the time of diagnosis if the patient is having chronic constipation. So next is investigations. We can see if chronic constipation is there, then plain X-ray may be useful because excess stools are impacted inside the colon, then it may give us some clue regarding any type of disease if it is there. Then barium enema, redundant sigmoid megacolon, or what we can say megarectum, stenosis, external compression, intraluminal mass. So all these diseases or factors may get overruled or excluded after the investigation of this barium enema. Then constipation, to investigate greatly with the help of sigmoidoscopy or colonoscopy. Now it is indicated in the certain facts like what we can say rectal bleeding or hemopositive stools, or we can say weight loss, obstructive symptoms, or if the patient's age is more than 50, to screen or to rule out the colonic cancer. Little evidence to support routine use without alarm symptoms. So the colonoscopy, it gives us the clue for this type of diseases. Constipation, to treat this or to investigate this, specific diagnostic tests are also there. So constipation is tested with the help of colonic transit study, anorectal manometry, balloon expulsion test like defecography, colonic manometry. Number of advanced modalities are there nowadays in the laboratories available. So we can tell patients to get it done and to rule out what is the exact cause of the constipation. Then constipation, again, it is very, very important to for treating this constipation. Diet and fiber, role of fiber is very important. High fiber diet increases stool weight, bulk of stool is getting created, mass of stool is increased due to high fiber diet, and it accelerates the colonic transit time. Okay, so fiber increases abdominal pain and improves stool consistency. Also, fiber intake of 20 to 30 grams per day is optimal, and that is enough to avoid this episode of constipation. Even slow transit and pelvic floor dysfunction, patients respond poorly. So it is very important to get high fiber diet in the patient's lifestyle or that person's lifestyle. Then pharmacological, what we can say, drugs. There are certain drugs like laxatives, prokinetics, then serotonergic compounds, chloride channel activators. So number of drugs are there uh, produced by different pharma companies, which are getting results, or which are giving results in the in this constipation. But all this result is time being, or it is temporary. Whenever you will take that particular medicine, you will get the relief, and when you will stop that medicine, then again the same episode will reoccur. So to avoid that, our lifestyle, told in Ayurveda, it is very important to do proper, follow the proper dinacharya, proper rutucharya, to have proper balanced diet, to exercise daily, and to maintain our health physically as well as mentally. Now, there are anionic surfactants, what we can say, that lower the surface tension of the stool. And these are the stool softeners. They facilitate the mixing of the stool. They stimulate the intestinal fluid secretion, like sodium and calcium docusate compounds. Now, these are given as a stool softeners to the patient of constipation. Now, laxatives are there. Mainstay of treatment are these laxatives: milk of magnesia, lactulose, lactitol, Sena compounds, bisacodyl, polyethylene glycol are few of these drugs. Then stimulant laxatives are also there. They act by increasing fluid and electrolyte secretion in the intestine. They are absorbed and metabolized in the liver. So few of the examples we all know, that Sena, bisacodyl, sodium picosulfate, castor oil even. So all these are coming under the category of stimulant laxatives. Best reserved for short-term use, and these are used as a rescue agent in the constipation. Now there are osmotic laxatives as well. So it includes saline laxatives like salts of sodium, phosphate, sulfate, then synthetic disaccharides, lactulose, sorbitol, mannitol, then inert polymers like polyethylene glycol. We use PEGLAC for colonoscopy or for evacuation of bowel before colonoscopy. Then lactulose, lactitol are all the osmotic laxatives. So they also play important role, but only for time being phase. Then There are serotonergic agents as well, neurotransmitter. These are 90% circulated in GI tract. Now, 5-HT4 receptors, when stimulated, they increase the peristalsis, induce chloride secretion, and reduce visceral hypersensitivity. And thus, they, what we can say, they treat the constipation. There are chloride channel activators like rubiprostone, which are GI targeted fatty acid, or it activates the chloride channels, resulting in increasing the fluid secretion, and it also increases the colonic motility, and it facilitates the proper transport of the stool or fecal matter through the gastrointestinal or GI tract, and then it its dose is 24 micrograms twice daily, and thus it is given for the treatment of this constipation. Now, there are prokinetics as well, like parasympathomimetics, like neostigmine, dithanecol, or motilin and agonist, we can say, like erythromycin. Now, erythromycin we give very commonly to the patients, but it is good prokinetic, and it is used in the treatment for this constipation. Now, motor secretory, we can use colchicine or misoprostol. Then the partial 5-HT4 agonists are there, like tegaserod or prucalopride, mozapride. So for chronic constipation, even if we give all the medicines and still the patient is not getting relief, then prucalopride is or mozapride is used. Then renzapride, like it is tested in irritable bowel syndrome under evaluation. The research is going on for this drug. Then alvimopan, it is tested in post-operative ileus. So all these are prokinetics which are being tested in these constipated patients. Now there is a biofeedback therapy, the instrument-based behavioral program. It is done by using manometry or electromyography probes. So biological clock of our body, it should be maintained properly, but for that the synergy of this GI tract should be well maintained. It should not get disturbance in the digestive tract. So for this purpose, all these criterias are used in the biofeedback therapy. Now, this is the most important slide and the take-home message for my today's lecture. See, the lifestyle modification for constipation, as all of us we know, when we treat the patient comes to us and tells that, doctor, I am suffering from constipation. Actually, patient does not come to us for constipation. Patient comes to us for piles, fissure, fistula, abscess, and other anorectal problems. And when we ask while taking history if you are having constipation or not, then 80%, 85% patients, they tell that yes, the evacuation is not proper. Either it is in liquid stool form, having frequency of defecation, or the patient is not passing stool, or fewer than 3 days per week, like that, or he is passing very hard stool, or he is having painful defecation. In this case, we, as a surgeon, we should give him laxative, no doubt, but simultaneously we should counsel him. We should do a proper counseling, and only then the patient will get relieved completely in the future also. Again, then otherwise what will happen? Again, he will land up in some other kind of anorectal disease. This time fissure, next time piles, next time another abscess, like that. So to break the chain, what we say, to stop the train, pull the chain. So here we can say, to break the chain, you have to counsel the patient properly, and you should change his lifestyle completely, and you should modify his diets and his what we can say daily routine as well. So proper diet intake should be there, balanced diet should be there, high fiber diet should be there. We should tell patient to drink plenty of liquids or fluids in the daily routine. We should always advise him to exercise daily. It should be ardha shaktya nishay vastu, ardha shakti vyayam jo hota hai. Non strenuous exercise should be there, but it should be proper enough in adequate amount to maintain your body healthy. Then sitz bath, it relaxes the anal sphincters. So it is, even normal person can take the sitz bath. It plays an enormous role in the relaxation of anal sphincters. And wherever the sphincters are there, or sphincter means what? These are the muscles. And wherever the muscles are there in our body, the whole musculature or whole body is formed of musculoskeletal system. So we have to keep these muscles very strong. We have to keep their tone very adequate or very proper so that they can function well. So the same thing gets applied to the anal sphincters as well. So relaxation and proper strengthening of the anal sphincter is very important. Then spare some time to visit toilet. So daily toilet visit is very, very essential. Do not sit on commode for long. So many people, they have habit, take a newspaper, take a mobile and open a WhatsApp and sit for half an hour, 1 hour in the toilet commode. And बाहर से कोई तो खटखट कर देता है, फिर हाँ 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 करके वो बाहर आता है. It is not a proper habit. So don't take anything inside the toilet. Don't sit for long on commode. And whenever the patient, we tell patient to sit on a commode, if the Western toilet system is there, to maintain proper angle, to facilitate the easy defecation, please tell that patient to keep one small stool under his legs or soles, we can say feet, so that the proper angle of the for the easy evacuation of fecal matter will get maintained and proper evacuation will take place. Then do not ignore urge to pass stool. वेग धारण नहीं करना चाहिए. Establish regular bowel pattern. Adapt right posture while defecating. So encourage same time every day. So toilet conditioning will be there. So it is the very, very important criteria that same time you should follow every day to encourage the toilet training to your body for proper evacuation of diet. पहले दिन जाओ, दूसरे दिन जाओ, सेम टाइम पे जाओ, नहीं होगा 8 दिन, but on the 9th day your body will be in the habit to pass the stool. And this training all of us should give to the patient to follow the same rules. And just we should tell all patients not to defecate with straining. So it should be sukha mala parivartana, sukha mala nishkasan, sukhena mala nishkasanam. So it should be easily passed. The patient should not strain, so that he should not feel that he is having constipation. For this purpose, the lifestyle modification is very, very important. After waking up or after a meal, we should encourage him to go or to visit the toilet. Now, these are few of the exercises and yoga asanas which may be useful in the treatment of constipation. So like Pavana Muktasan, Vajrasan, Padmasan, Gomukhasan, we can tell patients, they can even they can see on YouTube and they can practice it, or you can just what we can demonstrate them and they can do it on their own. Now, role of surgery in constipation, it is only for our knowledge. I have added these slides. If the constipation is very chronic, even after doing all these things, the this disease or this symptom is not getting eradicated from the body, in that case, the last option is there, that is surgery. So on this basis of surgical options, there it can be divided into surgery for obstructed defecation and surgery for slow transit defecation. So there is mostly rectocele repair, or ODS, we can say, obstructive defecation syndrome. So these are the several routes: transvaginal route, transrectal route, transperineal routes, transrectal staple repair. So these are being used to treat this obstructed defecation. Then there is STAR procedure also, staple transanal rectal resection. So surgery for slow transit constipation, there is loop ileostomy. Most importantly, it is reversible. Means if you create a stoma, then it can be reversible and the patient will have proper path of getting evacuated or for evacuation of stool after a few months. Then total colectomy with ileorectal anastomosis. This is the worst option, that the disease is said that we have to excise full colon and the anastomosis is done from ileum to rectum directly. But this is the worst option. So the summary or take-home message for today's lecture is the constipation is polysymptomatic disorder with diminished quality of life. Then it affects up to 20% population. Do not miss out any metabolic disorder inside your body. History of drug consumption is very important. History taking of the patient is very important to look after or to rule out particular cause of the constipation is very, very necessary. Look for features of IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. Then use Rome criteria to make a diagnosis. Understand dyssynergic defecation. Then use the available technology, dynamic pelvic MRI or MR defecography. Whenever necessary and wherever required, you can use these diagnostic tools. Treatment is primarily medical. Laxative remain the mainstay of treatment. Prokinetics for slow transit constipation may be used. Drugs like tegaserod, lubiprostone have enhanced the therapeutic options. Biofeedback therapy is important to treat dyssynergia, and surgery as a last option reserved for refractory cases. Thank you so much, and I again extend my sincere thanks to all the faculties, senior dignitaries, especially Dr. Hemant Kumar sir, National Sushruta Association, and the whole dignitaries and faculties in the Parul University, Dr. Hemant Toshikhane sir, Dr. Parikshit sir, and their whole team for giving me the opportunity. I am very much junior to you all, but I just tried my best to elaborate on this topic today. If I have made any mistake, I sincerely apologize for that. Thank you so much. Have a safe day.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. Very nice and valuable presentation. Thank you to all participants for listening, the persons for listening. Madam, now start the discussion.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Now the session is open for discussion. I request to all participants to send your query and questions in chat box.
Can I close the screen now, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
But
stop your video.
Yeah.
And screen.
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, one more questions. What is the patient take in toilet time and normal frequency of stool frequency? Means one, that is the 1 time day and 2 time.
Sorry, I did not get it. Can you just repeat, sir?
The normal frequency of stool frequency
Okay. No,
per day.
see, according to our science, it has been told that daily minimum one time you should visit the toilet, or maximum 2 to 3 times you can visit. It is normal. But more than that, 5 times, 6 times, and the frequency is getting altered, then there is some problem, maybe related with the GI tract. So that is alarming. But if less than that, having proper, what we can say, proper evacuation, consistency of stool is good, and then it is not having any foul smell, it is what we can say, after evacuation of stool, if the patient or the person is feeling very light, then laghav, then it is normal.
Okay. Another question is, what is the laxative is safe in pregnancy?
Huh. Laxatives are safe in pregnancy, but not all laxatives, as they are getting absorbed in the GI tract. But lactitol is very much safe, at it is getting what we can say, excreted through the out of the body. And if you are not in a phase of giving allopathic drugs, then we can give our ayurvedic drugs like Mrudu Rechan, Erenda Sneh little bit, or Aragvat Kapilavati, or Ayurvedic drugs we can say, or dietary modifications. We can tell that pregnant lady to have cow ghee like 5 to 10 ml per day with the in her meal, or black raisins or fig soaked in water. Like these remedies, we can tell her to overcome this fact.
Thank you, ma'am. And another question from Dr. Rajendra Paliwal. Suppose, can you increase frequency of defecation without loose stool? The criteria of constipation.
Pardon?
Can we increase frequency of defecation without loose stool? The criteria of constipation.
But why to increase the frequency? Even if you are passing the stool once a day, then it is okay. And after passing the stool, if the you are feeling very fresh and the body is very light, and your daily routine you are doing very coolly, then there should not be any problem. So no need to increase or no need to decrease. Whatever body constitution is given to you by the God, just accept it and just compare with yourself with the normal what we can say, normal body pattern, whether it is normal or abnormal. If even if many मृदु कोष्ठ जो पेशेंट होते हैं, 2 3 बार 4 बार जाते हैं, ठीक है, 3 times is okay. But क्रूर कोष्ठ, they will pass stool alternate day. मध्यम कोष्ठ, they will pass stool once a day. But whatever amount and frequency you are having, if you are comfortable with that, then no need to increase or decrease it. If that is problematic pertaining to the constipation or diarrhea or any other associated symptoms like blood or stool with mucus, in that case you can have a visit to a doctor.
Okay. Another question is, what is the indication of surgery for the constipation, and what kind of procedure can be performed for chronic and severe constipation other than diversion colostomy?
Yeah, I have just told it in my slide. I think they are clear with the slides. What are the criteria for the constipation surgery? For the constipation, surgery is the last option actually, but colostomy it can be reversed also. It is not hard and fast that it is a permanent solution for that, but only if it is required, then only the surgery is done. And alarming features also I have told you. So what are the criterias for surgery? Like obstructive defecation is there, or patient have to evacuate that stool manually. Obstructive defecation syndrome is there. Then in that case, we have to go for STAR procedures like that, or slow transit constipation, or rectocele repair. If rectocele is there associated with the constipation, in that case, we have to go for surgery. Otherwise, not.
Thank you, ma'am. Another question: what is the advice in constipation in child baby?
हाँ, very important thing for the constipation in children. It is very common problem nowadays. When patient comes to us with his child that he is having constipation, before giving laxative, we should always advise them to stop the milk. The packaged milk, जो बैग में अभी मिलता है, that is pasteurized milk. It is not pure milk जो हम लोग प्योरली काऊ या बफेलो से लेते हैं. It is not like that. It is pasteurized. So it is creating constipation. So we should tell parents to stop his milk first. अगर आपको दूध देना ही है तो तबेले का दूध जो ताजा ताजा निकाल के you should give, or just add little bit shunthi or like herbal drugs little bit to that and give it to the child. You can give black raisins, you can give fig soaked in water, as I told, ghee in adequate amount to that child, proper diet, no junk food, no fast food, no bakery items to treat. Nidanam parivarjanam is very important, instead of giving only laxative and laxatives to that child. So this is very important. And after all, advising all these lifestyle modifications to the parents, then you can go for Ayurvedic laxatives for that child.
Next
And you
question.
should also give them proper toilet training since childhood.
Thank you. Next question is: can we include the situation of constipation if patient say altered bowel habit, and sometimes it is okay?
If we, sorry, your voice is not audible, sir.
Can we include this situation of constipation if patient says altered bowel habit and sometimes it is okay?
No. If it is altered bowel habit, then it is not a constipation. So many times the patient, what we can say, there are changes in his daily dietary habits, और few कभी कभी वो फंक्शन को जाता है, कभी कभी बाहर का खाता है. So there are altered changes in his diet, so that the pattern may differ for the defecation, but it doesn't mean that patient is constipated. According to Rome 3 criteria, if the same patient is having the same symptoms from more than 6 months, then only we term that patient as a constipated patient. Otherwise, not.
Next question is: how to differentiate out between the constipation and IBS?
There is a big difference in constipation and IBS. IBS is a very, what we can say, it is a group of symptoms, various symptoms. Irritable bowel syndrome is very large entity, what we can say. Constipation is a single symptom. So IBS cannot be compared with what we can say constipation. So there is a difference. There are altered bowel habits. There is bloody diarrhea or stool with mucus. There is pain in stomach as well, or bloating, or belching, or constipation, or what we can say, the cause is not well understood. Still, the patient is psychologically as well as physically very much disturbed. It is purely psychosomatic. IBS is purely psychosomatic. If the stress level is getting increased, then again the symptoms they get increased. So it is very important to rule out this disease with the help of adequate investigations, proper history taking. And constipation is single symptom. It is not a group of disease like that.
Okay. Next question is: constipation is a general problem because we have a bath dominant in the body in old patient. In this situation, if churn is given to relieve for constipation, it is right or not?
Churn,
Churn, laxative, like.
Yeah, any laxative you can give, but give such type of laxative which will not harm your body. And Ayurvedic drugs or herbal drugs are various types of drugs are there which are not getting what we can say, which will not affect to our digestive tract. Like I have say told Erenda Sneha, it is very safest. वीकली 2 बार भी अगर आप पेशेंट को दे दे तो इट विल गिव यू द मिराकुलस रिजल्ट्स. और लाइक आरगवद है, सेना है, सो ऑल दीज आयुर्वेदिक ड्रग्स, और त्रिफला है, सिंपल त्रिफला, सो यू कैन एडवाइज देम, they can take it regularly, no problem, but you have to advise them first regarding the lifestyle modification, and then only if after doing all these also they are not getting the relief, then they can go for taking these laxatives.
Next question: what is the content of basti that used for constipation?
Contents of basti is a part of the panchakarma specialist, but still I can tell you, for constipation, simply what we do in our Podar college, we give simple matra basti of koshna til tel, and little bit saindav is added to that, and 60 ml of this til tel or matra basti is given for chronic constipation for at least 1 week. We can give, the patient gets very very good results, and with the side to side we give the lifestyle modification as well, and whatever the drugs required to treat his disease for which he has come to us.
Next question is: what is the suitable medicine for old patient in constipation?
I told answered this
जी जी
question,
मैम.
that Orenda Sneha and all that, the agents which will not affect your body are always suitable. And mostly I will prefer the dietary intake. Non-vegetarian diet will cause more suffering for constipation. Non-vegetarian person, they will pass a small stool in very small little amount, but the vegetarian diet person will pass the stool in huge amount because it contains high fiber. So the vegetarian people will not land up in the constipation as compared to non-vegetarian persons.
Thank you, ma'am. Another last question is: sometimes patient is habitual for laxative medicine. What should we do for this?
If the patient is taking the laxatives from years along, for long time, for long duration, we should at least try to break his pattern. We should take proper history. We should proper do counseling of that patient. We should change or alter his bowel habits. We should change his lifestyle completely, and just don't stop that laxative directly. If he is taking daily, tell him to take alternate day, एक दिन छोड़ के, फिर 2 दिन छोड़ के, ऐसे करके करके फिर टेपरिंग डोज में धीरे 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 we can just stop the dose of laxative. And we have done it in many patients, because one patient I saw in my practice, he was taking laxative from his childhood. So 16 to 17 years he was taking laxatives, and we have not admitted that patient just for conservative treatment. He was giving proper follow up, and within 4 to 5 months, with proper counseling and dietary habits and lifestyle modifications, we gave him good relief from the laxatives he was taking and in habit of that.
Thank you, ma'am. Now all queries finished. Thank you so much, ma'am, for interactive session and valuable discussion. I I would like to invite our HOD Professor Hemant Kumar sir for this conducting remark. Hello.
Yes, madam.
Hello.
Very nice talk.
Namaste, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Really, I appreciate you because
Thank
of
you
your
so
nice
much.
interaction session, and you covered almost Ayurvedic part and allopathic part also present. And so whatever our Ayurvedic drugs are very safe, and we can use
Yes, sir.
vividly in the practice of proctology. Definitely,
Yes,
you
sir.
truly said we are using in chronic constipation as a matra basti. We are
Yes,
using
sir.
matra bastis, like different matra bastis. You can give Maharana Taila, or you can give
Yeah.
Yashtimudhu Taila, or you can give Dhanvantri Taila, Ksherabala Taila. So whatever the thing you can give
Yes,
for
sir.
30 ml, 30 ml morning and evening for matra basti. Definitely it relieves post-operative condition of the constipation also. And really
Yes,
it is
sir.
a very important topic what you selected. Definitely this is very needed for our Ayurvedic surgeons. And once
Yes.
again, I congratulate madam for a nice topic. And it's a good
Thank you
interaction
so much.
session. Really, it is a very good and informative for all our Ayurvedic surgeons. And once again, I congratulate you. And I'm thankful
Thank
to
you,
Dr.
sir.
Hemant Toshikani and Parikshit, Parul University, for continuously supporting our National Susita Association, for sharing our Ayurvedic topics regarding surgery. And really, it is very appreciable. I'm thankful to all senior teachers. So many senior teachers attended this topic. Once again, I'm thankful to all senior teachers, faculty, my colleagues, and friends, and PG scholars and PhD scholars for attending this program. And I congratulate Dr. Man Mahinder Singh for his nice moderating this session. He is a PG scholar from NIA. And once again, I'm thankful to all the persons who are involved in this webinar. Thank you, madam. Once again, thank you, madam.
Thank you. Thank you so much,
Thank you
sir.
so much,
Thank you.
sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, all faculty members.
Thank you, Hemant Kumar sir, and thank you, Dr. Prajna Kapse madam.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Should I end?
Yes, madam. Yes. Very nice presentation.
Oh,
Please
thank you so much, sir.
connected with us. Daily join कीजिए मैडम. कल भी मर्मों पे
Yes,
बहुत
sir.
अच्छा है. आपका बहुत अच्छा हुआ मैडम. Thanks for your
Thank you.
presence with us.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind cooperation. Thank you, sir.